day, you're going to need a chair. You might want a table in front of you, not now, but when you stand up, so when you sit to stand, you've got something to hold on to, if that's what you prefer. A cushion is helpful, ideally a thicker one rather than a thinner one, but either is okay. And if you want, you can also have 2 tins of anything, baked beans, soup, I've got tomatoes. You don't have to use them, but they're there as an option for you. I'll pop those to one side for now. You might also want your remote control nearby if you're watching this on a DVD, because then you can stop, pause, rewind, fast forward, and work at your own pace. So we'll start with our bum right back into the chair. So we're sat up nice and straight. Take a deep breath in, and as we breathe out, we want to pull our belly button in towards our spine. We also want to lift our pelvic floor at the same time. So there's some of our core muscles. We've got belly button into spine, pelvic floor lifted. Always doing that as we breathe out. And we lift the pelvic floor. If we're not sure what that feels like, it's a little bit like we're stopping ourselves from going to the toilet, or if you are going to the toilet and you stop yourself part way, that feeling that you get, that control, that's your pelvic floor. So really important muscles to help protect our spine when we're moving. So as we do that, have a couple of shoulder rolls, just breathing, getting that little activation with pelvic floor and belly button towards the spine. And it's a little bit like that feeling if you're doing up your jeans, you breathe in and you kind of get all those muscles nice and tight so you can do that final part of the zip up. So it's that kind of feeling when we want to draw those muscles in and up. So next time, popping your arms by your side, take a breath in, lift the shoulders and breathe out. Remember those core controls. We'll call them ins and ups. The belly button comes in, the pelvic floor comes up. So breathe in, as you breathe out, shoulders down, bring in the ins and ups. So you've got a nice gap between your ears and your shoulders. So it's really important to set good posture. And then when you're ready, let's look at the hands. So you've got your knuckles facing the screen. Breath in as you breathe out. You've got your palms facing the screen now, and you open the chest and squeeze in between your shoulder blades and relax. Breathe in, breathe out. You've got your ins and ups and your shoulder squeeze, which is what this exercise is called. So we're promoting good posture here because we've got a nice gap between our ears and our shoulders, and we're not rounding off. We're opening the chest, we're squeezing the muscle on the top of the back. And as we do that, our lower back isn't arching, we're not moving our body, we're nice and still. And as we breathe out, we've still got those ins and ups, we've still got that control. Good, and when you're ready, pop your arms across your chest or in a prayer position, whatever is most comfortable for you is fine. Breath in. If you imagine you're in a square, we want to turn to one corner and then the other corner. So you take a breath in, keeping the hips forward, but turning to the corner. Breathe in, breathe out as you turn. This is a spine twist. So if you imagine your spine is your neck all the way down to your tailbone, you want the middle part of your spine to twist because it's supposed to move, and if it doesn't move, we can get stiffness and pain. As you turn, you don't want one butt cheek to come off the chair and then the other. You want to keep both of your butt cheeks on the chair with those hips forward. And mobility is really important to keep us nice and physically healthy. So when you're ready, we know that bad posture can look like this. And if you've got those rounded shoulders at the front, like I just demonstrated there, that can often mean that we've got tight chest. So as we breathe in, we breathe out, twist, open the arms, keeping the lower back still, the hips forward still, and opening those arms can give some of us a bit of a chest stretch. For me personally, I need more than this to stretch my chest because it's quite a flexible area of my body, but lots of people find that that isn't the case. And if you find that you don't have a tight chest and it's quite flexible like mine, this exercise is still not going to do you any harm. If you find that taking the arms out all the way is quite tricky, you can just open up like this. So you're just making the arms shorter so they don't get as tired if you make them longer. So we'll go for one more each side. And then we'll work a little bit on some shoulder mobility, a little bit on shoulder strength. So popping your arms by your side, shoulder up, shoulders back. You've got a gap between your shoulders and your ears, chin tucked in, breath in. As you breathe out, float your arms to shoulder height, leading with your thumbs, and lower. Breathe out as you lift, with your ins and ups. Breathe in as you lower. Now if you want, you can do these holding your tins, and that will just make your arms heavier and make your shoulders work a bit harder. I'm going to go without for now. But if you ever think, I want to do this exercise regime a couple of times and it starts to get a bit easier for you, or you just start to get stronger, feel free to hold the tins and it'll just make things a little bit harder for you if that's what you're after. So another exercise we can do for our shoulders is next time we put the arms down, put them to 90 degrees. If you stay where you are, I'm just going to turn to the side to show you what I mean by that. So you want 90 degrees at the elbow. We don't want to go too small and we don't want to go too big. Too small is much easier, but it's not unsafe. So don't worry too much about the angle unless you're looking to challenge yourself and we want that nice 90-degree angle. Take a breath in as you breathe out. Open the armpits. Notice that my elbows are shoulder height and lower. Breathe out as you lift and in as you lower. This is your side raise. Again, you can do this holding tins of beans. If you're not used to it, you might find you get tired quite quickly. That's okay. You can always put them down again. So shortly we're going to move on to an exercise that still looks at shoulders, but we're looking more into the rotator cuff muscles. And what they do is support the shoulder joint and help prevent injury. Now, I can't say that if you do these exercises, you'll never get a shoulder injury, but it's not going to hurt at all unless you've got any problems already that restricts movement. Then of course don't do it. If it hurts, don't do it. Seek medical advice. So that's one benefit for the exercise that's next, and the other is coordination, to get us thinking a little bit. So we start with a side raise. Keep your elbows still, palms come forward. Notice how I'm in like a surrender position. Keep your elbows where they are, palms face the floor, and you come in again. If you're a counter, you've got 4, 3, 2, 1. So you always come down the way you came up in reverse. So breathing out and in. It's nice, smooth. Try not to make it too robotic. If you can, try not to stop moving. When you lift your forearm, try not to go too far back, just straight up is good. So you've got, again, that nice 90-degree angle. You're not going too far back, not too far forward. Let's go for 2 more. And then we'll give the arms a little rest. If they're feeling tired, feel free to roll the shoulders. Now moving on to ankles, which I realise you can't see if I move back. So just giving your ankles a little roll. If you're not sure about doing 2 at once, pop one foot on the floor, roll one way and the other, just to get a little bit of ankle mobility in there. And then the other side, or you can do both together if you're comfortable. So next up, we're going to grab our tins if you haven't got them already, and work a little bit on the biceps. That's the front of the arm. So pop in your arms by your side, put your bottom back into the chair. Now you want your palms facing forward for this one, and you want to glue your elbows into your body. Breath in as you breathe out. Lift the tins towards your shoulders, but notice how I'm not actually touching my shoulder, and down again. I'll just show you from the side. Breathe out and breathe in. We glue the elbow to our body because we don't want it to come forward or back. We want to keep it still to make sure that we work the bicep muscle and only the bicep muscle. So breathing out as we lift, in as we lower. And if you get tired, you can stop You can do as many of these as you like, it's entirely up to you. So taking your time, and if you want you can go halfway, hold, and slowly down, just to work in a slightly different range. Lovely job. So while you're doing that, my computer seems to have gone to sleep, so I'm just going to wake it up to make sure that it's still filming. Good. We'll do a couple more bicep curls. And then if you pop one tin on the floor next to you and keep the other one. Of course the option is always to go without tins. Now put one arm on your lap, it doesn't matter which one because we're going to do both sides. So we're going to go for 10. You want to reach up, hold, squeeze the arm, you want to extend the arm as much as you can and down to 90 degrees. Lower doesn't matter, just means you've got further to go at the top. So 10 in your own time. I've done 2. Breathing out as you lift, in as you lower. Good. And this is really good for your shoulders, but also for the back of the arm. Of course, if you've got any shoulder injuries already, that means you can't get your arm above your head for whatever reason, or you're advised not to, that's fine, just don't do it. And if you think 10 is too many, again, just stop, and you can build up to 10 another time. And when you've done your 10, give your shoulder a roll, your arm a shake, and go the other side. So 10 again, to fully extend the arm, and lower. Breathing out, breathing in. Remember those ins and ups. Squeeze the arm as you hold at the top, just briefly. And then when you've done your 10, you can pop the tin to one side and pick up your cushion. So the cushion, we're going to open our knees and pop it in between our knees. Now all we're going to do with our feet on the floor is squeeze. You can't see this, you can feel it though. We're going to squeeze our knees in towards the cushion. So you should feel your muscles working on the inside of your leg on both sides. So squeeze that cushion for 10, 9, shoulders back and down, 8, breathing naturally, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. We're going to do that one more time. You can stay where you are, or you can lift both of your feet off the floor and squeeze in for 10. This is harder, 8, 7, 6, squeeze that way, 5, 4, like a zip between the thighs, 3, 2, 1, and relax, popping the cushion to one side. So the next section of this session will be stood up, and you can do that with the chair in front of you for balance if you want. Now I'm going to move the chair out of the way for most of this, just so you can see what's going on with my legs. But what I can do is mimic the holding on of the chair if you're not sure where your arms need to be. So we'll start with our feet under our hips. The way we do that is we put them together and then we put our toes at 10 to 2 and the feet parallel. That means it's going to help you be more stable. Your centre of gravity is in a good place. Shoulders back and down. If you need to hold on, that's fine, but make sure if you hold on, you've got that shoulder squeeze posture and not rounded. You want to open your chest, squeeze your shoulders together at the back and hold on. We want good posture because it's better for us, it can help prevent injury, and it's also good for breathing, especially if you have anything like COPD or any breathing conditions or conditions that affect your breathing. So shoulders back and down, chin tucked in. Now looking at my feet, I would like you to lift one heel off the floor, lower, and then the other heel. While you're doing this, so you're still holding on, I'm going to use my arms to gesture a little bit as well to help get across what we're after. So we want our hips to be stable when we do this. So what we don't want is to lift the heel and our hips to come out side to side. We need the hips to be still. There's a muscle in the side of our bottoms that helps stabilise our hips and keep them still. So if we're moving out side to side, that muscle's not working properly, and that can lead to things like back pain, knee pain, even hip pain. So we want to keep the hips still as we lift the heel. I'll show you from the side. If you're finding it really tricky, then you can lift the heel a smaller amount. So it's like you're putting your kitten heels on instead of your high stiletto heels. So it's entirely up to you how high you lift the heel, as long as you keep your hips still, it's all good. This is what we call heel lift. So you're holding on, we'll do 2 more each side. Good. And then we're going to work a similar muscle and we'll do some leg abduction, so to take the leg away from the body. So holding onto that chair again. Transfer your weight onto one leg, because otherwise if you don't transfer the weight and you do this exercise, your hip's going to come out to the side and that muscle that we've just been working won't be doing its job. So transfer the weight, tap your toe out and in for 10, that's 2. So we're working again that muscle in the side of the bottom to stabilise the hips, and we're working the side that isn't moving. Good. I'll make that 3 more. Breathe out as the leg goes out, in as it comes in. Good, and when you've finished, hip width apart. If you're not sure, put the feet together, 10 to 2, parallel to reset. Pop your weight on the other side, holding onto the chair, then tapping the toe, breathing out and in 10 times. That's it. So keeping the foot on the floor is great for your balance. You can let go if you want a challenge, that's not a problem. But if there's any doubt that you're not happy with your balance, and especially if you're by yourself, you certainly don't want to fall, so make sure you're holding on if you need to. And then when you've done your 10, you can give your legs a bit of a shake or a slap if you feel you need to. And again, holding on, we're going to go for knee lifts now. So lift the knee and lower. Lift the knee and lower. Again, try not to let the hips come out to the side. Putting the tummy in, ins and ups, really important here. Don't worry if your feet come narrower, that might help you for balance. Now notice that my knees are coming as high as my hips. You don't have to go that high if you don't want to. You can go as high or as low as you like, but I wouldn't advise going higher than hip height. You don't need to do that. So you pick your height, and then when you're happy, we're going to work a little bit more on hip mobility. Now if you've got any hip replacements or hip pain and you're not comfortable with this, you can stay with what you're doing now, or just fast forward me, and whether you've got the DVD or YouTube, that's fine. So we'll lift the knee. I'm going to make it bigger to make it clear what you need to do. Open and down. Lift, open and down. When you open, you do not want your hips to turn with you. You want your hips forward as you open up. So it might be that you only open up a little bit, because you might think actually I'm a bit too stiff to go all the way there without moving my hips. That's fine. So in full, we're looking like this as we hold on. And if you want to make it smaller again, that's cool. Breathing naturally for this one, but all the while making sure we've got those ins and ups in check. We're breathing into the ribs, not the belly, because if we breathe into the belly, the ins and ups are not possible. And you can go as slowly as you like for this one, not a problem. Good. Go for 1 more each side, and then we'll move on to work on the glutes, the big muscle at the back there. So holding onto the chair, I'm going to go to the side to make it easier for you to see. We'll tap back, squeeze the butt, and in. Back, squeeze the butt, and in. Breathe out as the leg goes out, in as the leg goes in. When the leg goes back, we don't want to arch the lower back. Can you see that in my lower back? We don't want to arch or lean back in any way. As the leg goes back, the body doesn't move, ideally. Shoulders away from the ears, chest is open, remember. And then we'll stay on the same side for 10 and 9. If you find it too hard, do fewer than 10 reps, or keep with the alternating, because then the same side might not get tired as quickly. 3, 2, 1, and change sides 10 times. I'm going to do this one facing you, because what we don't want is to fall out the hip there and do this. That's not going to work the same. I'm going to pull up out of the hip, just like we did on the heel lifts. And just get that butt squeezing. So you're supported on this side, and you're working on this side. I've lost count, so I'm going to guess about 3 more. Good. Lovely job. Now popping your feet together, a little bit of standing glute activation. Holding onto the chair if you want. Look at my feet, they're together. 10 to 2, squeeze your butt and close. So if you've got a clock, your big toes are going to point at 10 to and 2 o'clock. That's it. So they're open, squeeze the butt and close. If you've got carpet and socks on, you might not be able to slide your feet like I am, so you might lift and then lower. That's absolutely fine, whatever works for you. Breathe out, feet go out. Breathe in, feet come in. Nice. This is your standing glute activation. And our computer's gone to sleep again. So go for 2 more of those. And then we'll move on. So we've been doing a little bit on the glutes. So we've been activating the glutes just then. I've also been activating the glutes with the tap back. So now I would like you to, you can hold on or not, it's up to you. Walk forward, heel first. Same leg, walk back. Other leg, walk forward with that leg first, and then walk back with that same leg first. Always heel first. So just get used to right leg forward, right leg back. Left leg forward, left leg back. Get used to that. Once you're used to that, I want you to think, when I step forward, I'm putting my heel on the floor first. So think about that. My heel is on the floor first when I step forward. When you step back, it's probably your toe. Don't worry about that. Heel first as you come forward. Holding on again is fine. Once you've nailed that, then think, as my heel goes on the floor, my butt squeezes as I come forward. Squeeze the butt as you come forward. Pushing your heel into the floor to get you to come forward. So what's happening is, as you come forward, your butt is driving you forward. And it's really important because our big muscle in our butt, our gluteus maximus we call it, that's the muscle that drives us forward. So if you ever see people shuffling, that's often because they haven't got gluteus maximus engagement, and they're also at a higher risk of falling over, which is obviously no good. So if we can learn how to use our gluteus maximus when we're walking, that's really helpful. And it's the same, which we haven't got now. If we were to go up onto stairs, our butt would help us go forward and up. So using this muscle is really helpful to stop us from falling over and to keep us strong. It's also a good muscle to work because if it doesn't work, our lower back takes the rap instead, and that can end up in pain. So getting a strong bum, and at least a bum that does the job it's supposed to do, can really help us in lots of ways. So this is something that you can do when you walk into the shops, when you get up and go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen, when you're walking, you can think, my butt is working. And that's good. That's a good habit to get into. Let's do one more on each side. And we'll stay on the theme of bum muscles and sit ourselves down. Now this is where you may or may not want a table in front of you to help push yourself up. If you do, make sure the table is far away enough for you to stand up. You want your feet on the floor. So if I push my bum straight back into this seat, my heels are a little bit off the floor, so I've come forward slightly. You want your feet just wider than hip width. So if you pop them together, 10 to 2, parallel, and then do it again. So your feet are a bit wider this time. Breath in. As you breathe out, holding onto the table or not, push into your heels and stand up. You should squeeze your butt as you stand up and then sit down again. I'll show you from the side. So holding onto that table if you want to. Breathe in. As you breathe out, push your heels down and squeeze your butt. Stand up so the butt is squeezing to push your hips forward. You don't want to keep going forward, you just want to stand up straight. And down again. So again, another example of where your butt muscles push you forwards. So we know that the gluteus maximus helps us walk. So if it helps us walk, it helps us run as well, which not all of us do. I'm not a runner personally, but some people are. But it also helps us get from sit to stand. How many times a day do we sit down and stand up? Whether it's to answer the phone, go to the bathroom, go to bed, go to the kitchen, do a job. So we sit to stand all the time. And ideally, if we can do that without holding on, even better, because then your bum is doing the work, not your back, and not your upper body. This is also, if you're able to do this, you're also less likely to fall over if you're strong enough to do this. Because the chances are you're strong enough to get up by yourself without help. And if you do fall over, again, it's helpful to have a strong butt, because then you're more likely to be able to get up on your own. So these are all things that are really helpful in terms of burning calories, getting stronger, being fit, but also really helpful for life. And we call that functional. It's functional because it's how we function day to day. So let's do one more of those. And then you can either stay sitting down, or you can stand up, as before with the chair. So again, I'm going to move the chair so you can see what I'm doing. So holding onto that chair, heel dig. So heel forward, in. Heel dig, in. So you want to push the heel into the floor, come back. Push, and come back. You might find that you feel that in the back of the leg, just below your bum, because that's working your hamstring. So we've worked the bum, and now we're going to move down into the hamstrings. That's it. Lovely job. So push them down, and then we'll stay on the same side with a bit of intensity. 10, tap, 9, push it down, 8. Again, keeping the body as still as you can. Holding off if you want, not holding on if you don't want. And again, making sure you're pulling up and out of that hip. And then the other side. You've got 10, pushing down, 8. So if you were to make a noise, you'd really push the heel into the floor. But obviously we don't want to hurt ourselves, especially if we have a hard floor. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now staying with the hamstring thing, taking your feet a bit wider. I'm going to turn my back to you so it's really clear what I want you to do. So you might want to hold on. You're going to lift the heel to your butt, down. Lift to the butt, down. And if you can't get the foot all the way to your butt, you might just lift a little way. It's the same movement, but how big you make it is up to you. And again, holding on, not a problem. You could even hold on with one arm throughout if you just want that safety net, but you don't want the full, comfort of having the chair there, because you might want to challenge yourself a bit. But you know if it's safe to challenge yourself or not. Let's go for 4 more. 3, 2, 1. Give your legs a shake, popping them shoulder width apart. So again, 10 to 2, parallel. Breath in. Fingertips to temples. Open the chest. Breathe in. Breathe out. So we're opening that chest, and we really want those shoulders down. It might be that you're quite happy to come here. I find this promotes lifting shoulders, but if you find that this is too difficult, then coming here is fine, but you just need to be really sure that your shoulders are down. Opening the chest. Don't worry if you're not going as far as hands behind the back. It's absolutely fine. If you're here, that's fine as well. Take your time. It's always on the out breath, and you might find that you can go a little bit further each time. Because it takes your brain a little bit of time to figure out that it's a stretch and not a tear waiting to happen or anything dangerous like that. So we'll go for 3 more of those. Out and in on the breath. And when you've done your 3, sit yourself down, and we'll bring ourselves towards the end of the session. If you want to stay standing, that's fine as well. So sitting yourself down. Once you're comfortable, shoulders back and down, chins up. We've got our ins, we've got our ups. Breath in. As you breathe out, lift one knee, breathe in lower. Breathe out, lift, breathe in lower. So this is good for your tummy muscles. You might even feel that. It might be that you lift your foot a fraction off the floor, which is what I'm doing now. I understand you can't see that. Or it might be that you lift much higher. It's up to you. I'm going to lift higher just so you can see what I'm doing. But it's entirely up to you. And if you want your arms just to relax by your side, you can. So it might be that if you're lifting your leg quite high, with the next exercise, you don't lift quite as high. Depends how flexible your hamstrings are. So that's the bit, the back of your leg, just below your bum. So if you lift the leg, extend, and hold. I'll go to the side so you can see that. You lift the leg, extend, hold, and down. It's important you get the hold because your quad, the big muscle at the top front of the leg, is squeezing to hold you there. It's really important that you extend the leg on this one. So even if you're just pointing it to the floor, that's okay. Because otherwise you can't get that full quad, what we call activation. It's not going to turn on the way we want it to. So lifting and squeezing the quad, really important. It's quite hard to do for lots of people, that one. So if you're finding it tricky and you think, I've had enough, that's fine. You can have a rest and wait for the next exercise, or again, fast forward me. So that we're going at your pace and not mine. Good. So when you finish the pair that you're on, we'll go for one more each side. And then we'll reset our posture. We've got some shoulder rolls back and down. Good, shoulder shrug, up, breathe in, and down. You can lift your arms up if you want. Down, up, and down. Two more. Lift the shoulders, lower, last one. Good, and with a couple of shoulder rolls, breathe in. As you breathe out, shoulder squeeze, palms to the front, palms to the back. Breathe out, squeeze, open the chest. Breathe in, reset. One more. Good, now pop the shoulder across the body and hug it tight above the elbow just to give it a little bit of a release after the shoulder work you've done. And change sides. Couple of shoulder rolls again. Chin tucked in, breathe in. As you breathe out, belly button to spine, lifting that pelvic floor. One more. And that was nice mobility, a little bit of a workout for some. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said before, if anything hurts or doesn't feel right, don't do it, seek medical advice. And if it does feel good and you want to push yourself a little bit more, perhaps you could get rid of the chair or pick up the tins to make some of the exercises more challenging. Thank you for listening.